I know it feels like we just got done with Black Thursday literally a month ago, but WWE is back at it again with more releases to their name. And one shouldn't be too shocked about it, honestly. I'm here talking about New Japan Pro Wrestling again, and again, it's not a good thing. This time about Will Ospreay and more news on why exactly he got stripped of the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. AEW is moving to TBS and why that's not necessarily a bad thing. We also get the confirmation of their second show, AEW Rampage, and when that's going to be happening. I give a bit of a brief review of the Hana Kimura Memorial Show Matane, and also preview AEW Friday Night Dynamite this week, as well as Double or Nothing 2021 coming up this Sunday. This is the 48th edition of the Chill Spill Podcast. The S is silent, by the way. Yo, what is going on, guys? It is your boy Tyler Mask, aka Suplex. That's SOOPLEX on TikTok and SOOPLEXX on Twitch, aka Tyler Coon Williams, aka the one who lived. And guys, welcome back to the 48th edition of the Chill Spill Podcast, and that is pill spelled with an S. But it is silent, much like all the wrestling fans that used to call AEW a t-shirt company. And I'm talking about those fans that, you know, about 2 years ago, probably a few more months before 2 years ago, were talking about how AEW was nothing more than a t-shirt company. It's a little pissant cut. That was Triple H, the pissant part. It's just another indie promotion. It will never be anything. It will never amount to anything. Then as weeks go by, the Elite signs this guy and that guy. They're signing Neville, known as Pac now. They're signing him and Page. They're signing Kenny Omega. They're signing Chris Jericho. They're signing all your favorite talent. But still, they can never amount to anything. Then they announce Double or Nothing. But it won't sell out. Then it sells out. Alright, but they won't be on TV. Then they are being talks about getting on TV. Okay, but it won't be major network. Then it's TNT. Then AEW comes, oh, but they won't do 1 million. Then they do 1 million. Oh, but they won't be NXT in the ratings. And they do, for 50 weeks. It's just funny, because yesterday was the 2-year anniversary of AEW Double or Nothing. And that's why I went through that whole spiel. Yesterday was the 2-year anniversary of AEW Double or Nothing. And I was watching yesterday with my good friend. We're doing the Bots 3 Count podcast, which I haven't talked about in the last few weeks because some stuff happened with our third guy, and now it is going to be 2 people for the time being. It will be 3 people very soon. We are working on getting that third person on there, but right now it will just be 2 people. But we were watching Double or Nothing 2019 because I put a poll in my community page. Like, what should we watch first? Double or Nothing 2019 or WrestleMania 37? And the majority vote was, of course, Double or Nothing 2019. So, ironically, we watched it yesterday on the 2-year anniversary. And it was really cool because that was my first time watching that show back in full since I actually went to the show. Like, I've seen the matches, like some of the matches back. Like I've seen Dusty Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes. Botchamania already, bro. I know Botchamania doesn't exist on YouTube anymore, but it exists on the podcast. We said Dusty Rhodes versus Cody Rhodes. I saw that match like at least like 3 or 4 times now, and I love it every single time. I've seen Chris Jericho versus Kenny Omega a few times. I've seen the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Bros a few times. Like, I've seen the matches back, but I haven't seen the show in its entirety since I went in 2019. And watching it back, it was, dude, it felt so cool to watch it back again. And I have so many more things I want to add to it because it's like 2 years later now, knowing what they are able to do on TV and what they've been able to do and what they've done, and you know, just being able to explain that is going to be a lot of fun, and that's why I can't wait to really tape that episode of the Bots 3 Count. But I really want to just go over and just flex what AEW has done. I know it sounds like I'm an AEW fanboy, which I don't qualify. I don't like to think that I am one. But listen, bro, I will not stand for AEW slander these days. I just won't stand for it. Because AEW really is out here doing a lot of things that a lot of wrestling companies wish they can do. And that is be the number 2 in the world. So, sorry, not sorry. But that being said, AEW dick sucking out of the way. Let's now talk about WWE NXT. That's the first thing I want to get into here because that was really one of the big news stories coming out of last week. NXT released 8 talents. Now, I don't really recall NXT doing a big Exodus release the way that WWE used to do it. Well, does it now. I don't recall there being like a year where NXT just released a bunch of, like, I'm not saying that Triple H never ever released anybody, because of course there have been people who've been released from NXT, but I don't remember there being like a big group of people been released, you know what I mean? But 8 people got released this week, and they are Urza Judge, who I've never heard of before, so maybe if I looked them up, maybe they were under a different alias in WWE. Urza Judge. No, I don't know who Urza Judge is. Never heard of him. So Urza Judge, whoever that person is. You had, I just clicked. I'm sorry, I clicked off the link. Urza Judge, Skylar Story, which was an interesting one because Skylar Story, who wrestles by Skylar Story, of course, but was Brandy Lauren, the girlfriend of AEW wrestler Joey Janela. She got signed with a few other people. It was her, Cora Jade, who before that was Elena Black, and then it was Alex Zane and Blake Christian. Don't ask me what their names are now. I honestly don't know. Well, I do know, but I can't remember it. But like those 4 people, maybe even more, they all got signed at the same time, and that was like probably a month or 2 ago. Like it was not a long time ago. It was very, very recent when they got signed. And on top of that, like, yeah, Alex Zane, who's under a different name, he's been on 205 Live the last few weeks, so he's made his debut. Blake Christian, I don't think he's debuted yet. And Cora Jade has debuted. She was in the the Dusty Rhodes Women's Tag Team Classic with the other girl. I think it was Darby Allin's ex. I gotta say ex now because I think they're broken up. I do not remember her name. I'm so sorry. I don't remember her name. But they were Priscilla Kelly, whatever her NXT name is, they were paired up with each other in a Dusty Rhodes Classic. So all those people kind of had stuff to do except for Blake Christian and Skylar Story, otherwise known as Brandy Lauren. And, you know, attractive woman. I don't know how good she is in the ring because I've never seen a match of hers. But, you know, I was kind of wondering, like, okay, well, what's going on with her? Because we have seen her at least one time. If you guys remember, when Damian Priest first won the NXT North American Championship, I want to say it was NXT TakeOver in Your House last year when he won it. After his match, he went backstage and there was this jacuzzi waiting, and he jumped to the jacuzzi fully clothed with these 2 women. And one of them actually was Brandy Lauren before she got signed. So that was like her on-screen debut. And then, come to find out, she's released. So I was very confused. I wasn't like, you know, broke up because I'm like, oh, damn, we didn't get to see her perform. But I was confused. I'm like, well, why did they release her if she was never on TV? I don't even know how. I don't know how that works. But hopefully she can. I'm sure she'll find work very soon. I just thought that was a very like sad case that like she got signed literally the same year she got released, and it wasn't even like it was a big period of time. She literally. Let me look this up because it's gonna irk my mind if I don't know when she got signed. Hold on. Okay, so it says she got signed in October of 2020, which was like 7 months ago. She got signed. So to get signed 7 months ago, and to my knowledge, not having a single match on the main roster, maybe one in a battle royal or something, but not having a match on the main roster, like, that's kind of sad, honestly. So hopefully she finds work and she does well for herself. Vanessa Bourne is an interesting one as well because she's been with the company for a while. Like, I remember her name in the first Mae Young Classic in 2017. She was in that Mae Young Classic. She didn't make it far. I think she lost in the first round. And then she came back in the second Mae Young Classic, and I think she lost in the first round again. And then she kind of was just floating. Like, she was just in NXT for like 2-3 years. You know, she was paired off with Leah for a bit. I think for like a hot second, it was her and Dakota, but I know it was her and Aaliyah for a little bit. And then she just kind of stopped doing her thing with Aaliyah. And then they tried to give her something to do with somebody else, and then they just kind of stopped doing that, and then you just didn't see her again. And I was like, okay. And now it comes to find out she's released. So that probably makes more sense than Skylar's story because they weren't using her, and I don't think they really knew what to do with her. I don't really know what her capabilities were because honestly, I don't remember what her matches were like because that's how little I've seen of her. But I'm sure she'll do well. Kavita Devi. That's another one where it's like, I don't know what they really could have done with her. I mean, they could have done more. Like, she was in the first Mae Young Classic. I remember because me and my mom watched the Mae Young Classic together, and she was so impressed by Kavita Devi because, you know, Indian woman, don't really have a lot of rights over in India as a woman. But Indian woman, she comes over with her kurta and she wrestles. I still remember her doing that military press Dakota Kai. I think she's still like one of the most viewed videos on WWE's YouTube channel. Her versus Dakota Kai is like just that alone. The Indian market is just so big. They could have pushed Kavita Devi. Now I don't think she would have got over in the American audience. I don't know. I don't think so because she was still very green. But they could have pushed her, and I would have been like, you know what? I understand why you're doing it. The same with Jinder Mahal. Like, I understand why you're doing it. Don't know if I agree with it, but I understand why you're doing it. Kavita Devi in the ring. She was only, like, featured a few times. Like, the Mae Young Classic in both years. At WrestleMania 34, she was in the Battle Royal, which I don't remember her doing much, except for getting eliminated. She might have did the military plus slam there as well, but I don't remember it. She was on NXT television maybe a couple times, like maybe one or two, three times maybe. And then that was it. I know she was supposed to be at the Superstar Spectacle event that happened earlier this year, like, you know, the big Indian special that happened on the WWE Network in January. She was supposed to be on that, but then there was like some family issue that happened and she couldn't make the show. And if she did make the show, she probably would have won her match and they probably would have started doing something with her. But she never got her foot off the ground. They never really truly got invested in her. And they released her now. So it's kind of sad to see because I don't know what her worth truly is. Because like the times I've seen her, she wasn't that good in the ring. So I don't know, but wish the best for her. Next is Jessamine Duke. Jessamine Duke is I feel like I don't want to keep on saying another interesting one. But Jessamine Duke is, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that one. Because, is there thunder outside? I don't know how to feel with Jessamine Duke. Because when she came in, it was like with Ronda Rousey. Like, you guys remember that first tease? Maybe in like 2017, 2016. It was a very, very, very long time ago when they did this tease. But when the Four Horsewomen were in NXT, so it had to be 2015, when the Four Horsewomen, Sasha Banks, Bayley, Becky, and Charlotte were all on NXT, there was this one backstage segment I vaguely remember. It was those four, they were walking, and then they came across Ronda Rousey, and then with her was Jessamine Duke, Marina Shafir, and there was like one more person. I don't remember her name. Shayna Baszler. God, oh Lord, I forgot about Shayna Baszler already. That's terrible. But no, it was the four of them and like the four horsewomen, and they were kind of staring over. And Ronda's like, "Whenever you guys want to do it," and they're like, "I bet." And then we never got that. We never got it. I mean, we got like, you know, some renditions of it like later down the line when Ronda Rousey actually went to WWE. This was before she went to WWE. This is when she was still with UFC, I believe. But they did that, and that was her first like exposure on WWE television. And then when Shayna Baszler came in 2017, Jessamine Duke and I think Marina Shafir got signed as well, but they were in the PC training because they had little to no wrestling experience. Shayna Baszler actually had wrestling experience. Like, she actually faced off in the Stardom before, was on the Indies. Like, Shayna Baszler was a legit professional wrestler. Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke were not. Ronda Rousey was not. Like, none of them were. And, you know, Ronda Rousey, I'll give her a lot of credit. She excelled very fast. Like, she had maybe, I would say, a solid 6 months of training, and then she debuted at WrestleMania 34, and she was good. And in the matches she had, she was good or maybe not great. Good to really good. Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir, they ended up in 2018 getting paired off with, you know, Shayna Baszler as her goons, doing run-ins for her, managing her in their matches. But I cannot recall them ever having any matches on the main roster. Not any like singles matches. Like they had a tag team match, maybe a 6-woman tag team after Shayna Baszler, yeah, but no singles matches from Jessamine Duke. No singles matches from Marina Shafir. Now Marina Shafir is still with the company. Jessamine Duke got released though. Jessamine Duke also streams on Twitch, or at least wants to stream on Twitch. I remember she was still, why can't I speak today? For quite a while, she was streaming on Twitch, and I know she's good friends with Mia Yim. She's good friends with Xavier Woods, and she does a lot of videos on Up, Up, Down, Down. So to see her get released, it's questionable, because I thought maybe she would have a good relationship with them because of Up, Up, Down, Down, but I guess unaffiliated, maybe? I'm not too sure. Jessamine Duke, I don't know what her future holds, but I'm sure she'll go to streaming. I'm sure that's where she's heading. The next one is Alexander Wolf. This one probably I think if you would have said this 2 years ago, I would have been like, okay. But now I would have been a little bit confused because he was paired off with Imperium. Last I remember, he was with Walter and Marcel Bartel and Fabian Eichner. And he wasn't doing anything like monumental with Imperium, but he was with that faction. And Walter is, 700, 800 day long reign as NXT UK champion. So he had something going for him. And before Imperium, he was with Sanity. He was with Eric Young, Nikki Cross, Killian Dane. That was it, because before Alexander Wolf, it was Madman Fulton, but then he got released, and then they threw in Alexander Wolf, and that's kind of how he came in to the fold. With Sanity, he was nothing. Like, I ain't gonna lie. Alexander Wolf merely was there in Sanity, because, Eric Young was the leader. Nikki Cross was the woman who ended up being the breakout of the entire faction, but I can't really say that much now. And then Killian Dane was like the big heavy that ended up, excelling for the most part. Alexander Wolf didn't have much to his name after Sanity ended. And I think for like a little bit, he just did nothing until Imperium kind of recruited him. And now he's been released. I don't know what the future holds for him either, but I wish the best. And then the last two are referees, referee Jake Clemens, and lastly, referee Drake Wirtz. Now, referee Drake Wirtz is a very controversial one. Backstage, he was very vocal about not wanting to wear masks at a time where masks were not, as eased up on as they are now. This is very heavy into the pandemic. I would like to think we're getting close to the tail end of it, but during like the really peak of it, he was very much against wearing masks and not being vaccinated, speaking very loudly, criticizing wrestlers for getting vaccinated or even getting flu shots, which, okay, I guess. I mean, keep your beliefs to yourself. Additionally, from what I'm reading, there was an incident last year where he stormed out of a Triple H speech prior to NXT TakeOver in Your House, which is a no-no. Getting into fights with people. From the stories I read, I'm surprised he lasted this long. I don't got much to say about it. Good riddance. If he was an asshole backstage and he's doing all the things I reported, good riddance. I would have got rid of him a long time ago. He should be lucky he got a job this long. But the last one is the big one. And that is Velveteen Dream. Velveteen Dream got signed with WWE back in 2016. Now, prior to 2016, 2015 was Tough Enough. If you guys remember that season of Tough Enough, season 5, you had a guy by the name of Patrick Clark. Now, I remember this season because me and my cousin watched this every single week. And my cousin was a big fan of Patrick Clark. He really saw something in this Patrick Clark guy. Funny thing is that I was with my cousin last week, and I'm still laughing about this. We were just talking about wrestling, and he brought up the fact that he was like, hey, that Patrick Clark got released, right? And I'm like, Patrick Clark? And it took me a second. I'm like, the Velveteen Dream? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, why do you call him Patrick Clark? And he's like, bro, whenever I see him, I still think about Tough Enough. And I just think it's so funny that even still to this day, and I know sometimes it's on purpose, but by accident, he will still just call him Patrick Clark. And I think that's so funny. But back in Tough Enough, he was Patrick Clark. And I remember his story being like, I think he was the only person on Tough Enough that had legit, like, wrestling experience. Like, everybody else was, they came there little to none. But Patrick Clark actually wrestled on the independent scene. And I think that's where a lot of his cocky attitude came from. And he was very good. Like, he very, very well warranted. He was very good at Tough Enough. And don't ask me how he got eliminated. Don't ask me why he got eliminated. I don't remember. It was 6 years ago. But he got eliminated. Then a year later, he got signed. And in 2017, I was at a house show in February 2017. I remember he made his debut on that house show in Philadelphia, but it wasn't as a Velveteen Dream, it was as Patrick Clark. He was rocking a Velveteen Dream garb and a Velveteen Dream, theme song, but it was just Patrick Clark. And I'm like, okay, he's like a Prince ripoff. That's interesting. And then a few months later, he comes into NXT as the Velveteen Dream. And I gravitated to this guy almost immediately because I thought it was a very different character than one I've ever seen. I mean, of course, I've seen metrosexual, homoerotic characters wrestling before. Rico, Orlando Jordan, TNA. Not the first time I've seen one. But he was very much a standout from anybody else on the roster at that time. Let me put it that way. And I was a fan of Velveteen Dream. I ain't going to say a lot to you guys. I ain't going to cap to you guys. I was a big fan of Velveteen Dream. One of my favorite storylines in NXT was the Velveteen Dream and Aleister Black. A very short-lived rivalry, but a very great one in itself. That led up to their match at NXT TakeOver World Games, which was a great match. And to this day, I still think that's one of the best matches matches NXT's ever had. 2018... he was on fire. I mean, Velveteen Dream was on fire in 2018, both in his momentum, crowd reaction, everything. Wrestling ability, like everything. I don't think he won a title until 2019, though. I think 2019 is when he actually won the North American Championship. A little bit too late, in my opinion, but he won the North American Championship in 2019. 2020, that was when everything just went to shit. 2020, June, I would say, is the time where he started getting these allegations towards him. First, it was a girl who was claiming that he sent sexually explicit photos to him, which is disgusting in itself. But then there were some from underage boys who were saying that they had, some very inappropriate conversations with the Velveteen Dream. And one even saying he got a picture of him. And I sadly saw this picture. But all these reports from underage teenagers saying they were in contact with the Velveteen Dream. And they took him off TV, as they should have. Well, no, at first they didn't take him off TV. And I think that's what pissed a lot of fans off. But then they took him off TV. Took him off TV for quite a while. Then he came back. And then they took him off TV. Now, at the time, there was this report that he got injured in like a car accident or like a bike incident or something. But he got taken off TV. And then he was never seen again. And then he got released. And that's really just the story of the Velveteen Dream. He had a lot of potential. John Cena once tweeted about how he wants to face the Velveteen Dream one day. Wrestlers left and right saying the Velveteen Dream is the next big star. Reportedly, the people want to see him on Raw. People want to see him on SmackDown. They don't know where to put him. Like, he could have been something. I don't know about WWE champion one day, but he could have been something. And he pissed it all away. And to this day, they are allegations. Yes, there are some pictures, videos, but they can always be altered. That's the way I kind of see things. Though we have that, it could have been altered. The way we get that, to know if it's true or not, is through a police investigation, which to this day, I don't know if there has been one. The kids who reportedly, said that Velveteen Dream did these things said there was an investigation. But then you go and you talk to Triple H, and he says there was no investigation. There was no police investigation. There was an internal investigation with WWE, but there was no police investigation. So you don't really know who to believe. I mean, you just kind of are led to pick a side. Like, do you believe Velveteen Dream did it? Are you against him? Or are you the people who kind of like, believe that maybe he didn't do it? There's always like those two parties. There's the in-betweeners, but then there's like two parties. But it don't matter now because he's released. And with him having that stigma to his name of being, the guy who talks to kids, no one's going to want to mess with him. AEW damn sure ain't going to mess with him. I don't know. I don't know what happens with him. He might be done, for all I know. He might be someone... I mean, I won't say he's on a label with David Starr, because David Starr was a serial abuser. But he might be someone on, like, the cusp of, like, a James... I'm not James Ellsworth, because he got... You understand what I'm saying, though. Velveteen Dream is screwed. He's screwed. And I don't know what's going to happen with him, but... hopefully he gets his shit together and his act together. That's kind of stuff that you can't get erased, though. Like, that's not something that will ever go away from him. Future jobs, whether it be wrestling or even working at a coffee shop, that's going to follow him. So, yeah. Hopefully he gets help. That's all I have to say about that. But those are your NXT releases. Now let's talk about some New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, last episode, we talked about Will Ospreay being stripped of the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. And this episode, we're still talking about it. But now there's some more news to that than just, there was an injury that happened. Because that was the first report, is that, he suffered a neck injury during his match with Shingo, and that's what led to it. But now we're hearing that there's some more things being added to this. So, this report comes from the Voices of Wrestling podcast. Very in-depth with New Japan. And the report goes as following. New Japan trainers compared Will Ospreay's various injuries to the recent injuries to Okada's back and to Ibushi's foot. New Japan Pro Wrestling felt Ospreay was hurt by a shoulder pain, neck sprain, and various other minor alignments such as his nose. However, he was not injured to the point that he would be required to stop working immediately or to the point he would have to vacate the world title. The original plan between NJPW and Will Ospreay was to work through Wrestle Grand Slam Tour after likely dropping the world title to Okada at the Tokyo Dome, closing out the Wrestle Grand Slam Tour. Ospreay would then be given time off for the summer struggle to heal up. However, when the Wrestle Grand Slam Tour was canceled, Ospreay was told they could go home immediately. Plans were then, reversed, saying that, you guys can return home from work, but Ospreay flew home anyway. And in him flying home, I'm paraphrasing now, in him flying home, New Japan really didn't know if he would come back or when he was going to come back, so they made the conscious decision to strip him. That is what is reported. That's not written in stone, but that's what is rumored, is that basically, yes, Ospreay's injured. That's confirmed. There's no lie there. But apparently, Ospreay left because, I'm hurt. COVID is running rampant in Japan now. Like, it was running rampant before, but now they're having more issues. The cases are spiking. Things are being shut down again in Japan. And Will Ospreay reportedly wanted to go back home for this. He didn't want to stay in Japan for this. He wanted to go back to the UK. And when they canceled the tour, he's like, okay, well, it's time to go back to the UK then. Y'all, if I'm not wrestling, I'm going back home. But then they were like, we're still going to run these shows. And Will Ospreay's like, nah, it's too late. I'm going. That's what I'm picking up. Will Ospreay said, nah, it's too late. I'm going home. And they were like, okay, we're taking a belt then. It's a very sticky situation. What did Jada Pinkett Smith say in her talk with her husband? It's a God, what's the word? They had a I forgot what she said. It was a word that she said they had that is still to this day hilarious. But it's a very, very sticky situation. It don't matter now because Will Ospreay's already been stripped. That's not like a thing, they're working, like, no, he's been stripped already. He's no longer the champion. It's a sticky situation for New Japan because now you're seeing yourself in this place where you're already, a year ago, you guys were coming back from COVID. Because remember, back in February, they had to shut down and they came back in May. They come back, right? A very, very small roster. You don't have a lot of guys to work with. You only have a few core guys And a lot of them you really didn't plan on pushing in the first place. But now you have to, because this is what you have to work with. They start back up a New Japan Cup. Then they push Evil. We're like, all right, cool. That's a guy you did not, I really didn't see ever being pushed at that level. Cool. He turns heel. He's the new leader of Bullet Club. Now he's the new IWGP World Heavyweight and IC champion. Cool. Cool. Next show, Hiromu versus Evil. Cool. The next show, Evil versus Naito. Naito wins it back. All right, that's cool. Naito wins it back. All right, great. Next few months, Evil versus Naito rematch. That is for literally the rest of 2020. Already a bad direction with the heavyweight championship. And in the background, you have some other weird stuff going on. You have Okada in this never-ending feud with Yujiro Takahashi for some fucking reason. It's basically just a bunch of bullshit to hold us over until G1 Climax, which is where we finally get the guys you want to come back. Kenta, Jay White, Will Ospreay, Juice Robinson, Bad Luck Fale, Tama Tonga, Tonga. Everybody came back for G1 Climax. So G1 comes around, everybody's back, and now that everybody's back, New Japan said, thank you, juniors, but fuck you, bye. Go back to your little division, we don't need you no more. So juniors are no longer competing for the Never title, they're no longer competing in that heavyweight division, no more Hiromu matches for the championship, that's it. He's stuck with the junior heavyweight championship forever. So that's done, they're back to status quo. But now that Jay White's back, it's this very weird place for Evil because he was supposed to be the leader, but now the actual leader's back. And Kenta's back too, and Kenta was kind of the second in command behind Jay White, so where does Evil stand? And throughout the G1 Climax, they're doing this weird thing with Kenta and Evil, where Evil dislikes Kenta, but we don't really know where Jay White stands. And then they're kind of teasing this Jay White-Evil feud, but then they never went anywhere with it. They teased it, but then they didn't do anything with that. Like, nothing. So it's like, okay, I guess. So Bullet Club's in the weird place. Chaos, I mean, I don't really know what Chaos is doing. Chaos is in chaos. Chaos is in chaos. So now they're fuming this new faction of Will Ospreay, because Will Ospreay's turned heel now. And it looks like he's heading in the direction of a match with Okada at Wrestle Kingdom 15, which is fine. Now he's having his own faction. He's forming up with the Great Okan, who just came back. He's pulling in Jeff Cobb. So now heading into Wrestle Kingdom, there's some few seeds planted. But we're heading into Wrestle Kingdom, and there's like little to no actual build to this show. Like, you understand there's these matches happening, but the build-up is just so weak for a lot of these matches. Like, with the heavyweight picture, you had Kota Ibushi, who won the G1 Climax, which is like, as an Ibushi fan, great. However, I feel like he really didn't need to win it back-to-back, but I get what they're doing. He wins the G1 Climax. Jay White then beats Ibushi for the briefcase, so now Jay White's in the main event. I'm disappointed, right? Ibushi fan, disappointed. Should be. But then, a few days later, Ibushi ends up getting a match at the Tokyo Dome in the main event for both championships anyway. And I'm like, huh? I understand I'm an Ibushi fan, but Ibushi lost. He shouldn't be in this position. But because Naito wanted to face Ibushi, now we're getting Naito and Ibushi. And Jay White's going to be facing off against the winner of that match on night 2. Okay. But it doesn't make any sense. So we get to Wrestle Kingdom. Kota Ibushi beats Naito. And fans are disappointed for some reason. But then we get to night 2. And Ibushi beats Jay White. Jay White loses his mind. Jay White is having a breakdown. He's like, oh, I don't know if I have it in me anymore. I don't know if New Japan even wants me. I don't know. It's a very great direction because now Jay White's vulnerable. We don't know what he's doing. We don't know where he's going to go. Will he leave New Japan? Will he not? And by the way they built it up, there was no way he was leaving New Japan. New Japan was talking about it like is Jay White going to leave? And if WWE ever tweets out, will blank leave WWE, you know in your head they're not leaving WWE. Because why would WWE talk about it? Right? If it was actually happening. So I knew he wasn't leaving. But they wanted you to believe that. 1 month later, he comes back, same gimmick, same everything, with a new purpose that, oh, Ishii's the reason why I couldn't beat, Ibushi at Wrestle Kingdom. Ishii's the reason why I couldn't do this. And it's like, no, you lost. It's not Ishii's fault. Even if you beat Ishii at G1 Climax and made it to the finals and won, and you still lost, whose fault is that? It's your fault. You lost. So he's blaming the wrong person. And you could say, oh, but he's just deflecting. Okay, let's just say he's deflecting, right? What was the purpose of you doing this whole mental breakdown if it didn't go anywhere and this ends up with him being back in the same gimmick? It was a waste. A wasted opportunity, in my opinion. So Jay White wasted that opportunity. Evil, former World and IC champion, now is in a feud with Toriano of all people for the KOPW Provisional, a trophy that means dick. And you're just it's like, what the hell is going on with this company right now? Ibushi's a champion. I'm happy about that. But he's the champion, but it doesn't really feel like he's doing much. Like, okay, he's in a feud with Sonata, which, understandable, because Sonata beat him in a G1 Climax. He beats Sonata, and then we get into New Japan Cup. Will Ospreay wins, which I predicted, because Will Ospreay is the top heel. He should be winning it. Will Ospreay beats Ibushi, which I'm not accept that, because it's like, well, he's the faction leader. He's the guy they're building up. Okay, I understand that. Cool. They're doing that. Will Ospreay has one match against Shingo, and then, boom, injured, and now he's gone. They've just had shit luck. But they've also been doing shit booking. So at some point, it's like, I can't really feel too bad for New Japan. I can't really feel too bad for New Japan, bro. At some point. I don't know how New Japan's going to bounce back from this, guys. It's been 1 year since they came back, and they've been eating shit after shit after shit. My God. You really, I like, as a fan of wrestling, because I don't know if I really could say I'm a fan of New Japan at the moment. I can't, because I really haven't watched any New Japan much this year. I've watched Wrestle Kingdom, and I've watched the finals of New Japan Cup. That's really all the New Japan I watched this year. Oh yeah, and New Beginning Tour. That's it. That's it. So, if you're not watching New Japan right now, I don't blame you. If you don't like New Japan right now, I don't blame you. They're in a very bad position. And it's going to take them a lot to really gain that back. Now everyone's asking, what do you do with the heavyweight championship? And I've heard this idea float around for a few other people, that they should put it on the line in the G1 Climax. And that's a new concept. I don't remember a tournament where a championship was on the line, not a round robin one where a championship is on the line. Especially the main prize. So if I'm New Japan, I'm doing that idea. G1 Climax is for the heavyweight championship. Not the winner gets not the winner face off. Like, no, you could do something else for that. You can easily do something else for that. But I would do winner wins the championship. That easily will get people invested in the tournament and get people invested in every single match. Because every single match matters. And it does in any G1 Climax, but now it has a true purpose. You get to be the third World Heavyweight Champion in New Japan history. And who would I have win that tournament? I'm not too sure. I mean, it depends on who's in the tournament, honestly. Depends on who's in it. I mean, now, we don't have any idea what's going on. New Japan is having this Road to Wrestle Grand Slam tour, even though there's no Wrestle Grand Slam, to my knowledge, that's happening. So, I don't know what this road to... Where's this road to going? Where's the road leading us right now is my question. The Million is like, what? 2-3 weeks away? 3 weeks away. And we have no card for Grand Slam that's apparently happening, but not happening. We have no card for Dominion. I don't know what's going on with this company. I am not... And this is... And people wonder why I don't pay attention. I don't know what's going on. But I'm over talking about New Japan at this point. Let's now talk about All Elite Wrestling. Because AEW has some pretty big news last week. Now, this is 1 week old news, but I want to wait until this episode to talk about it. So, AEW is officially moving off of TNT. Now, I know initially you're thinking, well, NXT obviously won because, NXT just got moved nights. But AEW has to get moved off the network. But not necessarily, because they're not moving off of TNT to like a lower rent network. They're getting moved to TBS. Now, yes, I know immediately you think TNT to TBS is a downgrade. And initially, I thought the same thing. I thought, well, this is a downgrade. But then I did my research and I found out that TBS actually is more accessible in more homes, cable-wise, than TNT is. About 1 million more homes. So there is some more exposure for AEW on TBS. But it was confirmed by Turner that AEW Dynamite will be moving to TBS in January of 2022. So in about 7 months, we'll be seeing AEW on TBS. It will be staying the same time. It will be staying on the same night. So it will be Dynamite, Wednesday Night Dynamite, on Wednesdays, 8 p.m. on TBS. But then there was another news break. And that is that we'll be getting AEW Rampage. We've heard this news about a year ago that we'll be getting another show for AEW. And people thought it was Dark Elevation. But then Tony Khan said, no. It's not Dark Elevation. It's coming. But now we know it is Rampage. Rampage is confirmed to be a 1-hour show happening on Fridays at 10 p.m. starting August the 13th. So we're about 2-3 months out from the debut of Rampage. And it's a 1-hour show. Now that excites me, because when I first heard about this second show, I was not looking forward to having another 2-hour show to watch. I ain't gonna lie. But that 1-hour block, that's gonna be something they could use as an outlet to get the guys we don't see every week on Dynamite. To get your Sunny Kisses. To get your... And you could say, oh, but we see those guys on Dark. Guys, I don't watch Dark. I don't watch Dark Elevation. The average wrestling fan, I'll tell you what, they don't watch Dark. They don't watch Dark. And I'm not the average wrestling fan, but I'm telling you, a lot of people do not watch Dark and Dark Elevation. If they do, they don't watch the full episode. So we get to see those core guys that we don't see every week on Rampage. And if you want to, which I dare AEW to do this, you could even possibly do a brand split. And I know you're saying to yourself, but how can you do a brand split with a 1-hour show? NXT in 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, and most of 2019 was a 1-hour show. It was a 1-hour show that many fans to this very day regarded as the best television WWE put on. So I do not want to hear this argument that it is not possible to do a brand split with a 1-hour show. Yes, they can. Yes, they can. And you want to know something else? On WWE, there's this thing called Raw and SmackDown. Raw is 3 hours and SmackDown is 2 hours. Take 1 hour away from Raw. Right? Raw's 2 hours. Do the same to SmackDown. How long is SmackDown now? 1 hour. So yes, don't tell me it can't be done, because it can be done. It can be done. Now, there's no update on whether this is a brand split or not. I think many are assuming that it won't be, and it probably won't be a brand split. But I ain't gonna lie, I'm kind of hoping for one. I need that sense of brand split in my life, because WWE can't provide it for me. I'm sorry, they just can't. They can, but I know they suck at it. Their stories are not good. The only stories they have that are good involve Roman Reigns, but that's on SmackDown. It's not on Raw. Raw shit, and it has been for a long time now. AEW Dynamite, still very good. But that's very exciting news. I cannot wait for Rampage. I'm going to do my own draft very soon, which I'm excited to do. But I'll wait on that. I will wait on that. I'm going to talk a little bit more about AEW here. Dynamite is this coming Friday. Not tonight. That's premiering tonight. But this coming Friday is Dynamite. And on this show, we'll be seeing Jade Cargill having an open challenge. She has no match at Double or Nothing, so this is the best thing we can do for her right now. We have Joey Janela versus Hangman Page, a rematch from All In 2018. We have a celebration of the Inner Circle in their best moments, which is going to be held by Eric Bischoff. We have a Double or Nothing weigh-in for Cody Rhodes versus Anthony Ogogo. Orange Cassidy will respond to Kenny Omega's offer to defer his world title match at Double or Nothing. A very promotional heavy show we have going on here. That's like what, 1, 2, 3 segments? 3 segments, and I'm sure we'll have some more on the show. Oh, another one. Hikaru Shira celebrates her 1-year anniversary as women's champion. A lot of promotionals on the show. But then we have the matches. You have Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky versus Evil Uno and Stu Grayson. It's about damn time, bro. Where the hell has Evil Uno and Stu Grayson been? Except for running around, chasing them off every time they attack Sting and Darby Allin. It's about damn time they're on the damn show. And I bet you they're going to lose, too. I swear, the Dark Order, like, I don't know what happened to the Dark Order, bro. I don't know what happened. After the Brody Lee segment, you know, the Brody Lee show, the beautiful Brody Lee Memorial show, they had momentum. They're baby faces now. They wanted to recruit Hangman Page. Then they actually could. They actually did, kind of, sort of, recruit Hangman Page. And after Hangman Page joined, they fell off. Big time. This has been the least relevant the Dark Order has ever been. The least relevant. And I like to believe that soon they'll be on the path and on the road to something, but I don't know what that is. Not yet, at least. We have Darby Allin versus Cesar Bononi. That's going to be good. And then also in the main events of the evening, we have Miro defending his TNT Championship against Dante Martin. That should be a squash, probably. Something similar to a squash, because I don't think Dante Martin's winning it. Not this close to Double or Nothing, of course not. Before I hop into Double or Nothing 2021, I wanted to briefly talk about the Hana Kimura Memorial Show Matane, which did happen last Saturday. This was a beautiful show. Hana Kimura did take her own life this time last year on May 23rd. And they decided to hold a memorial show in her honor. We saw a lot of people on the show. We saw Riho. I think Kenny Omega was somewhere on this show as well. A lot of wrestlers came to pay their respects to Hana Kimura. We had a few matches on the show. We had a 6-man tag, which I don't really recall much happening in the 6-man tag, but it was okay. We had a big battle royal run by a woman by the name of Ram Kaicho. I hope I said her name correctly. She won that battle royal. We had a 6-woman tag team match. We had Asuka, Shiori, and Natsupoi. Oh, Asuka, Shiori, Natsupoi, and Mio Momono. Mio Momono pressed the hell out of me on this match. But those 4 women versus the team of Konami, Death Yamasan, you know, the former members of Tokyo Cyber Squad, and their 2 tag team partners, Hazuki and Kagetsu. You heard that right. Hazuki, who retired in December of 2019, and Kagetsu, who retired February of last year. Both women coming out of retirement to wrestle on this show. And that was a really good 6-woman tag match. Like, everyone got action, and the one who impressed me the most was Mio Momono. I knew nothing about her before this show, but after this show, I wanted to see more of her. And she dyed her hair pink as a tribute to Hana Kimura. Seeing Hazuki wrestle once again was just so great, bro. Because I came in at a time where Hazuki, like, left right off. Like, when I became a Stardom fan, Hazuki was gone. So I didn't really get to live through a Hazuki era at all. So to see her compete on this show was very cumbersome. And then to also see Kagetsu wrestle once again was just, it warmed my heart. And the team of Asuka, Shiori, Natsupoi, and Mio won the match. But then right after, we got an impromptu singles match between Asuka. And when I say Asuka, I don't mean like WWE's Asuka. WWE is not that. They're not that accommodating. They're not that nice. I'm talking about the women's wrestler by the name of Venny, who wrestled in the AEW Women's Eliminator Tournament this year. She faced off against Kagetsu in the impromptu main event. And they had I would even say they had a great match in the main event. Kagetsu and Asuka did. And Asuka ended up defeating Kagetsu. Asuka got the pin in both the tag team match and pinned Kagetsu. They put over Asuka heavy. So I'm sure, like, Kyoko Kimura, like, she blessed Asuka on this show. I know that Asuka won. She actually wore Hana Kimura's kimono during the AEW Eliminator Women's Tournament. So obviously her and Hana were good friends, and Kyoko, Hana's mother, sees something in this woman, but she went over both times. That really stuck out to me. So she's going to be something really big in the future, if she's not already. If she's not already, she's something big in the future. And at the end of the show, multiple women and men came in the ring to hand flowers to Kyoko Kimura and play their respects. They had a big promo package detailing her entire career. It was a beautiful, beautiful show. And I advise anybody who has the time to give this show a watch. And then AEW Double or Nothing 2021 is coming up this Sunday. I will be live on Twitch for that show. So make sure you guys tune in to the Twitch channel. That is twitch.tv/SOOPLEXX. But let's talk about this show. Double or Nothing 2021. We just had this match confirmed today. Serena Deeb versus Riho for the NWA Women's Championship. Riho actually decided to show up for work today. Happy to see it. Yeah, you love to see it. But we're getting the rematch between Serena Deeb and Riho. They had a great match that nobody seems to remember happened this year. But they had a great match, and Riho won the match. So this is the rematch for the championship now. Serena Deeb is retaining the title. I don't see Riho winning it. She could, but this is an NWA Women's Championship, and Riho is not signed to the NWA. Neither is Serena Deeb. But I don't see the title changing hands. So I think Serena retains. But it's going to be a great match. We have the Casino Battle Royale for a future AEW World Championship match. In the match confirmed so far, we have Christian Cage, Matt Sydal, Powerhouse Hobbs, Penta El Zero M, Jungle Boy, Matt Hardy, Mark Quinn, Isaiah Cassidy, The Blade, not the Butcher though, but The Blade, Evil Uno, Colt Cabana, Preston Vance, Griff Garrison, Brian Pillman Jr., Max Caster, Anthony Bowens, QT Marshall, Nick Camarado, Dustin Rhodes, and Lee Johnson. And then, of course, the Joker card. I personally would have rather them not announce anybody and keep it like a Royal Rumble where people just kind of, come out and we figure out who's in the match. I think the Joker card will probably end up winning this match. Who is the Joker card? In my head, I want it to be Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson, but I don't know. I don't know who the Joker card is, honestly. But I'm going to bet on the Joker card to win this match. On the main show, which the Casino Battle Royale is going to be on the main show, I assume, but the main matches. We have Miro defending his TNT Championship against Lance Archer. Miro just beat Darby Allin like 2 weeks ago. I don't see him losing it straight to Lance Archer, which is why I'm questioning why they're doing this match. Lance Archer is somebody who I know they really want to get behind and really want to, put a title on and run with, but they put him up against somebody who just won a championship and is just getting into a singles push. So I don't know why they backed themselves into this corner, because if Miro loses, that derails a lot of his momentum. And if Lance Archer loses, then he's kind of directionless, because they were trying to push him earlier in the year, and then they stopped, and then they came back and started pushing him a little bit and getting him involved in this this abrupt feud of Miro. And now it's kind of like, well, if Lance Archer loses, then what do you do with him? So it's like you kind of have to have Lance Archer go over, but then it's like, well, you can't do it to Miro because Miro just won it. So I don't know what they were thinking. Could they have done this match? Yes, but not now. They could have done this match a month later. They could have done this match All Out, but now was not the time to do this match. Because now they're going to have to lay in the bed they sleep with whoever wins it. Because you can't do a double DQ. You can't do a double count out. That's not what you do for a match like this. These are two beasts, two powerhouses, two hoss men. Fans want to see go at it. And this is in front of a full crowd. This is in front of a fully packed crowd. You don't want to do any BS finishes on this show. So somebody's got to win. Somebody's got to lose. And who wins? I think it's Miro. I think Miro retains, and Lance Archer is going to have to get not repackaged, but he's going to have to get built back up again. And prominently. You could even build him up to an AEW World Championship match, but it's got to be done right. This on and off, on-screen, off-screen promo thing, it's not going to work. So send him back to the drawing board, spend a couple months building him up, and then give him a TNT Championship match again and see what happens. We have Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page versus Darby Allin and Sting. This is Sting's second match in AEW, and this is going to be in front of a full crowd in the ring. No cinematic appearances, no cinematic matches whatsoever. It is a normal match. I don't know how Sting will hold up in a normal match, but hopefully he does well enough. I mean, you have Scorpio Sky, who's a veteran, and you have Ethan Page, who's really good. And you have Darby Allin, who's also really good. You have three really good guys in there who I'm sure can carry Sting. And I hate saying carry Sting, but Sting's 63 years old. Like, I'm not expecting Sting to go in there and have a 5-star match. It's not happening. You're delusional if you think Sting's going in there and we're going to see the Sting of, 1999. No, it's not happening. I just hope Sting doesn't go in there and break anything. That's all I'm hoping for now. I'm going to say Darby Allin and Sting wins. I'm going to say Sting pins Ethan Page. We have Hangman Page versus Brian Cage. This match is really all contingent on the fact that Brian Cage pinned Hangman Page on the road to basically facing Kenny Omega. Hangman Page was number 1 and was almost basically getting bred to face Kenny Omega at Double or Nothing. And then in one single match against Brian Cage, it all went downhill and he just lost place of being number 1, 2, 3, or 4. He went from 1 to 5 in 1 week by losing to Brian Cage. And that's basically this match. Hangman Page was on top. He lost to Brian Cage, and now he's in a feud. It was a very put together Rust feud. I don't know why they have this match. It's the same as the last pay-per-view, where Hangman Page is just kind of thrusted into a feud with Matt Hardy. That feud actually had a story to it, but it's another feud where I feel like we're just buying time for Hangman Page, where I felt like you could have just pulled the trigger with Hangman Page and Kenny Omega. Nobody said that Hangman Page needed to beat Kenny Omega at this show, but you could have done the match at Double or Nothing. I don't know why they're waiting so long at this point. Hangman Page and Kenny Omega broke up back at not All Out. Did they break up at All Out? When did they break up with each other? They broke up last year. I know that much. They broke up last year. We're now in May. And Hangman Page has been with Matt Hardy. He's with the Dark Order. And now he's still with the Dark Order. But he's feuding with Brian Cage and Team Taz. And it's like, what are we doing here? What's going on? You don't want to wait too late and pick back up when people start to care less about Hangman Page. I mean, the momentum has died down for him, I'll be honest. It really has. They could have... I don't want to keep on reharkening what I just said. I felt like this was the time to do the match, and they didn't do it. Brian Cage, Hangman Page, I honestly don't care that much. Hangman Page wins. He gets his win back, and maybe at All Out or Fight for the Fallen or, Fighter Fest, they do Hangman Page and Kenny Omega, which is the wrong time. I would have done it here, but that's me. We have Cody Rhodes versus Anthony Ogogo. Cody Rhodes and Anthony Ogogo. Their feud stretches far back to the days of slavery, the Selma March, Martin Luther King. This feud did not have to be about race. This feud did not have to be about America versus the Brits. But this is what the feud is about. And that is all due to one Cody Rhodes promo, where he basically turned a lot of fans against him and in favor of seeing Anthony Ogogo want to win this match. This feud was basically based off of the Factory versus Cody Rhodes, because no one gives a flying fuck about Cody Rhodes and the Nightmare Family. It was based around Cody Rhodes. And they could have done Cody Rhodes versus QT Marshall here, but they did that match at Blood and Guts, so you had to invest in Anthony Ogogo, which is the right thing to do, because Anthony Ogogo is somebody who I'm sure they're going to want to push in the future. The question is, will Cody Rhodes be willing to do the job and let Anthony Ogogo get this win? I want him to. But honestly and truly, we're at the point where I almost assume Cody's going to win these matches, which is bad. You kind of don't want to be that guy where people see you and they're like, oh, you're going to win. I don't even have to. There's no doubt in my mind Cody's winning this match. Cody Rhodes has a Superman complex to him. A Superman complex. You can throw sticks and stones and everything at him, but he doesn't go down. And if he does go down, he's going to get right back up. As soon as they made this about America, you knew Cody was winning this match. Cody is as patriotic as they come. He's calling himself the American Dream, an homage to his father, who comes up like literally every breathing second that Cody Rhodes is literally on television now. But it's the American Dream, Cody Rhodes. You really think they're going to call him the American Dream and he's going to lose to Anthony Ogogo? No. Cody Rhodes is winning this match. He does not need to win this match. He should not win this match, but he will win this match. And once he wins this match, a lot of fans are probably going to not like Cody that much. And they shouldn't like Cody, because Cody should be a heel, because he's the most dislikable, unlikable. It's making me mad even thinking about it. I'm done with Cody. I've been done with Cody Rhodes for about a year now. But now people are catching on to it. And when Double or Nothing comes and Cody beats Anthony Ogogo, I really hope a lot of people start catching on to the whole Cody Rhodes is self-indulgent. And let me just stop talking about it. I'm done talking about it. Hikaru Shira versus Britt Baker for the AEW Women's Championship. Hikaru Shira has been champion for over a year. She's had some good defenses, but she has not been a good champion. I will say she was a good champion for the first portion of her reign, from May of 2020 to maybe I would say December of 2020. Once you got to January, Shida just stopped showing up for work. She just stopped being in meaningful storylines. She stopped being in feuds. She merely was the champion for all of this year. I don't know why they booked her this way. I don't know. She was a good champion for the first portion of the ring, but the last portion was just a bunch of nothing. Britt Baker was having bangers. Serena Deeb was having bangers. Rhea was having bangers. You had Asuka, Emi Sakura, Mei Saruga, Yuka Sakazaki were all getting their names out there. You had all these other great things, and then you had Hikaru Shida as your champion, who was just there doing matches with Abaddon. That was a bad match. She had a match with Tay Conti. Good match. She won. Alright. She had a match with Nyla Rose. Alright, I guess. I don't know. I just feel like they could have done a much better job with Shida as champion. But now is the time to put the title on Britt Baker. Britt Baker's been built up for over a year now. She turned heel January of last year. There is no time better than the present to put this championship on her. If Shida wins, I would not be surprised the crowd turns on her, honestly. Because nobody likes super long-term reigns. Except for very, very hardcore wrestling fans. And the thing about super long reigns, you gotta be excellent to hold that championship for that long and people not to lose interest. And the thing is, while she is great in the ring, she has not been a very prominent champion. So yeah, fans will turn on Shida soon. And they could prevent that by having her lose this championship and maybe chase for that again. Britt Baker's due for that win. I think Britt Baker wins the championship tonight. The Young Bucks defend their AEW Tag Team Championships against Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. There's only one answer to this question, and that's Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. This has been a very good feud. Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston together have been the best part of AEW consistently for the last few months. The Young Bucks consistently have been the worst part of Dynamite for the last few months. This is why it's such a great feud. You have like oil and water. Together they make fire. This will be a good match. But the only people that should be winning this match are Moxley and Kingston. The Young Bucks have been champions since November, and I don't mind them holding the championships, but this is the right team to drop it to. Mox and Kingston are gold together. They should be the tag team champions. I think they win this match. Now, this is the rumored main event of the show, but I don't think it should be. And that is the Pinnacle versus the Inner Circle. In the Pinnacle, you have MJF, Wardlow, Shawn Spears, Cass Wheeler, and Dax Harwood. And in the Inner Circle, you have Santana, Ortiz, Jake Hager, Sammy Guevara, and Chris Jericho. All go head-to-head in a Stadium Stampede match, where if the Inner Circle loses, they must disband forever. We had a Stadium Stampede match last year with the Pinnacle and the Inner Circle. And I thought, not the Pinnacle and the Circle, the Inner Circle and the Elite. And I thought it was one of the most fun matches of the year. One of my favorite matches of the year, honestly. I think this should be another really fun match. And I'm going to say that the Inner Circle wins this one. They lost last year. They're not disbanding forever. I think they win this year. And I'm going to say that Sammy, I'm going to be bold with this one, but I'm going to say that Sammy pins MJF. Sammy and MJF is the deep root of this feud. You can even say that if it weren't for the Sammy Guevara, kind of never really trusting MJF, this feud really would never come to be. I think it's only fair. I know Chris Jericho and MJF are beefing, but the core of this feud was Sammy and MJF. And I think it's only fitting that it should be Sammy pinning MJF to end out this feud. That's how I see it. And then what should be the main event, Kenny Omega versus Orange Cassidy versus Pac for the AEW World Championship. This feud was put on very late notice. This match was put together 2 weeks ago with little to no story. Actually, no story. Just number 1 and number 2 in a match, attacked by Kenny Omega. Tony Schiavone announces 3-way. That is the story. A terrible story, but that is the story. It will be a great match, but I believe there will only be one winner. And that winner is Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega will retain. Now, where we go after this, I don't know where else you go except for Hangman Page. I don't know how long are they going to extend this out for. I really don't know. But Kenny Omega retains, and I think next in line should be Hangman Page. Now, All Out is in September. I don't know if you want to wait until September to do that match. So maybe the next time we see Page and Omega in the ring is going to be Fyter Fest for all I know. But I think they should have done that match at this show. Missed opportunity, in my opinion. But before we head out of here, I asked some questions on our community page. I asked you guys to ask me questions, and I'm here to talk about it. Mason Rollinson. He asked, why do you think WWE is trying to hide certain things about the Ultimate Warrior, where in the past they shed him in an extremely negative light? Do you think it was only because he was in good graces with him at the end of his life? Yes. Absolutely. The Ultimate Warrior was basically a scumbag. Let's say what it is. He was a scumbag. And towards the end of his career, when they brought him back, I guess he was a changed man, had a new lease on life. He passed away, and they praised him. They saw him as like this next worldly being, and they gave him an award. They gave him a mantle. Well, not a mantle, a statue. They gave this guy the golden treatment once he passed away. And rest in peace. Rest in peace to the Ultimate Warrior. But the thing is that now that they've given him all, they gave him the award, they gave him the statue. You hear about the Warrior Award, you hear about his wife Dana Warrior having her podcast. They have a whole charity about the Warrior. There's so much of this company that invested in the Ultimate Warrior that they almost can't shit on his name. Which is why they hid a lot of those things out of the documentary. But if you do your research, you'll know that he is not the man. He is not the savior that they praise him to be. So yeah, simple answer. You almost answered your own question there. He also asked another question. Do you think AEW would be smart to hire Eric Bischoff on marketing purposes alone, not booking? I would say yes, marketing purposes. I mean, he had a good hand of getting the TNT deal for WCW back in the day. And I think that for marketing, I mean, he has some good ideas on his podcast. And he had a lot of good ideas back in WCW. I think if we're just talking marketing, then yeah. I mean, if that's the case, I think that would more so be the backstage role and not, booking like you said. I can't really attest too much to everything as far as marketing because at the end of the day, I'm merely a fan. I don't know exactly what all he has done for WCW. I can quote on what I've heard he's done, but I don't know all that he's done in terms of marketing. So I only can say from what I've heard, and that is that yes, I think that he would be a good one. If they don't, then that's fine. They haven't had him for the last 2 years, and I think they've been doing a good job. So, win or lose, I think they're fine. Wei Ling Long. Did you enjoy the Hana Kimura show, and would you rewatch it? Yes, I would rewatch it. I felt very, how did I feel after the show? It was alleviating to see all, Hana Kimura. We all wrestling fans all over the world knew how special she was. It's the same with the Brody Lee Memorial Show. We all knew how special Brody Lee was. We all knew what he could contribute to the business. But to see all the wrestlers come together and, give some words and stand together and put on that show, it's just a beautiful thing. And it just can't be touched. Now, if you go to Cage Match right now, it's one of the highest rated shows of all time, and I don't really agree with that. I think that is more so due to emotional reaction than it is a really fair scale grade. But I do think in its own league, it is a tremendous show that I recommend to just about anybody who wants to know about the history of Hana Kimura or even wants to just pay the respects to her. And his last question is, any tips for going through depression? As someone who goes through depression right now, all I really can say is that if you can, seek therapy. And it's not a bad thing because I am currently seeking therapy myself. I've been seeing a therapist for the last year and I feel like I've been seeing a great breakthrough. I feel like I'm in a better place now than I have been in the last several years of my life from therapy. So my first advice is if you can, because I know everybody is not financially able to seek it, but seek professional therapy. I think that's your first step. Your second step, wake up in the morning, get out of bed, brush your teeth, look yourself in the mirror, say something positive, do things that you love to do, and just remember that everybody struggles, everybody goes through hardships, but you were put on this earth for a reason. And though you may not know what that reason is right now, when you figure it out and you know what your purpose is and you finally are able to achieve it and do that purpose, depression will always be there. But it'll be less of it because you know that you actually have a place in this earth. Everybody has a role to play. Everyone has a place on this earth. We just have to find it. And I like to believe that depression is just one of those things that hold you back from finding your true purpose. You have a purpose on this earth. And right now you're just in a place where there is a barrier, there is a roadblock, and a very, very difficult one to overcome because depression is not easy to overcome. Trust me. I've been dealing with it for years now. But you'll get through it. You'll get through it. And when you come out on the other side, better than ever, you'll be glad that you went through it, in a sense. A lot of people who've gone through depression almost kind of say that they're almost glad they went through the journey because then you have great stories to tell. And not everyone's gone through depression and come out the other way. Hana Kimura is one of them. But I think you got this. I think you got this. If I got it, you got it. But guys, that was Chillspo Podcast episode 48. What did you guys think? Comment down below. Let your boy know. I'm out of here. I will see you all later for episode 49 next week. Actually, next week is the 2-year anniversary of the Chillspo Podcast. So leave some questions down below for what we should do for 49. And then the week after is 50. Peace out, guys.